Over 20 years of marriage. 2 weeks ago, my wife dropped the bomb on me that she wanted me to move out. I never saw it coming. I will be honest, I've been aware for about 5 to 6 months we have had some issues going on. We have 2 high school-aged kids. One about to graduate. I will also be honest that I just didn't help around the house or with the kids as much as I could have. I thought it was enough. But finding out now, in retrospect, I could have done more to help her. I made the mistake of just asking. And not enough of just doing. We have a gay couple, guys, that live next door, and she's been spending a lot of time with him. The more female of the two. Over these same 5 to 6 months. He has already helped end 2 of our other neighbors' marriages. Yet, I still watched as they would hang out every Friday and set a night. Even as I was begging my wife to spend some time on us. Even my kids mentioned to my wife that she is hardly ever home anymore. I always took it as she works hard. We have the kids in their sports, and she needed to get away occasionally. Until I guess that getting away became more fun than dealing with all the responsibility. Now I have been out on my own for a few weeks, and instantly to salvage what I could went for a few visits with a couples counselor. I got a lot of insight about myself, mistakes I've made, and things I need to fix on my end. No. I don't drink or do meds. I am self-employed, but always left my evenings and weekends for the family stuff. I have read a few books. 5 Languages of Love are a great read, but whatever. Even if your marriage is great, asked my wife if we could attempt to go to a new marriage counselor together. She agreed. We got our first appointment 3 to 5 weeks away. Seems like an eternity for me. But my wife continues to go out partying with the gay couple even more. Has become even more short with me, and often goes out of her way to avoid any contact with me. Now here's the even more tricky part. I am self-employed, but she works for her dad. And that account is 95% of my business, so not only do we basically work together, but she also does my hours for billing. And signs my checks too. She has asked for room. And I'm giving all I can bear right now. It doesn't seem to matter. She tells me she needs to take it even slower now. Lol, does it get slower than no contact at this point? Now I'm not sure what to do. We set up a date night, I'll make dinner and do a movie. What she wanted to do, but then invited both kids over as to not be alone with me. Not sure what I'm doing wrong here. Do I stay the course with the marriage counselor? Or let he keep running over me? Am I just upset and overreacting to the fact I'm trying, and at this point she is still just trying to figure things out? I haven't been clingy or been the sobbing mess I was the first couple of days for a couple of weeks. I'm sure that pushed her even further away looking back at it. Instead, I've mentioned some of my flaws, things I'm working on, and even explored some outlets for myself. New cooking class to help with dinners, took back up my guitar lessons. Even taking a dance class. In hopes she lets me take her out. Haven't told her about that one yet. What am I missing? Any advice on the route I'm taking or my plan to hopefully save the marriage? My neighbors are definitely gay, like real women gay. They are also married. I am a very healthy mid-40s, own a small construction company, and do much of the work. Still as strong as an ox. And yes, get hit on all the time, but always considered me happily married. The thought of my wife being unfaithful has never crossed my mind because we are always together. Even in our separation, we're 100 feet away. Today, after posting, I went to my wife and told her I would just give her the divorce as I didn't want to be a plan B or something she had settled on. She instantly said no and said she thought we were going to counseling to fix our marriage. The reason she said she wanted the separation was she loved me but wasn't in love with me. We had basically become business partners. Not marriage partners. She wasn't sure she could fall in love with me again, but she wants to try anything possible. She said divorce wasn't a thought she wanted to think about right now, but thought a separation would kickstart some responses from me that apparently I wasn't giving her, like emotional support, help with kids, making dinner to help her out, etc. Maybe I'm being naive now, but I want to try to save our 21 years. Do I wonder if infidelity has happened? No, I don't. Do I understand why she is feeling this way? Of course I do. She has raised our kids, done the laundry, fixed all the food, kept the house clean, and always been there for me, with almost no support from me during our 21 years. That's why I'm trying to change, give her some help. Hell, I don't know how to do any of those things really. Does taking out the trash occasionally count? No one is dictating anything. I moved out because I already know I cannot take care of the kids. Do the laundry. make all the food, get them to and from school every day. I took the easy way out. But I am trying to fix some of those issues. If some of you think I'm being a jerk and laying down to her every whim, you're wrong. I never said she asked for a divorce. Just a separation. Just help that I don't know how to give right now. We've had the same neighbors. The gay guys. For years, she went with them occasionally to get a break from her routine. I understood, and had no problem cause at least she wasn't going to a bar to meet single guys. She always came home within an hour or two. I guess that I helped push her that way. I must assume some of the blame. Hell, there's even been times I told her to go out because I didn't feel like spending time with her. The tough part is after 21 years of helping her out the door, she finally opened it. That's on me, I guess. It's me having the problems of being a man and admitting to my mistakes, and that she has to some extent already started to move on because of it. That's all I was trying to say and was hoping for advice on whether it can be saved or if it's too late. Wife asks for a trial separation. She agrees that we should see AMC and attempt to try and save the marriage. Today is our first appointment after 4 weeks of the separation, basically after 50 minutes. My wife has only one comment. I want to move our bed out, put in a twin, and repaint the whole room a new color for a fresh start. Is it me, or is that basically saying I just need him to get the rest of his crap out? I already moved on. I knew we were having issues 6 months ago. I asked for some time for us so we could try and get to the bottom of what's going on. Would not get much response, other than she started going out with friends more and more. 4 weeks ago, I had to take the kids out of state for a large sports tournament their team was playing in. The day I got home, she said she needed space to find herself. Her and her mom had decided for us that it was time for me to move out. I agreed, as she's the one that does all the laundry, gets the kids to and from school, does all the cooking. Thus our problem is I found out she's a bit burned out. And I didn't help enough with those duties on a consistent basis, self-employed, and admit I could have been doing more. Of course, the first week I'm out I do nothing to help the situation, but week 2, I start seeing my own counselor. As she had rejected the idea to that point, I start seeing my flaws, working on self, start taking some cooking classes so I might eventually be able to help with dinner and stuff. Go out with a couple of friends that have been giving me some support. She notices a difference in me after week 3 and tells me what a different person I've become already, and says she now wants to try MC and try to save the marriage. She finds one, a friend recommended to her. We go. And it's a crazy first meeting. This counselor jumps to my wife's side immediately. Even tells me to stop talking twice so she could defend my wife. Does not feel right. I look her profile up on the state board website. She's not even AMC, couples therapist, but a med and alcohol specialist instead. No, I don't drink or do meds, with no background in working in couples. She even gave my wife a book on independent living. I voice my concern to my wife. She says find a new one, just make sure it's a woman. I use the state board website and make a call. I tell the new counselor what happened, and she sets us up an appointment for yesterday. We both go in. I'm answering questions. My wife is really quiet, doesn't say much. We ran a bit over our time and another couple is waiting. As we walk out the door is when my wife drops the comment, I really just want to take our old bed out, set up a twin and paint the room for a fresh start. One last log of information, she is also my boss in a way. I own a small construction company. She works for her dad. They own a large apartment complex. And it's 90% of my business. Small update. Had been working the 180 method, been doing the MC thing. She started attending IC meetings, thought things were progressing nicely. Boom, talked to me today and said she had no desire to work on or attempt to save the marriage any further. From positive to ultimate negative in less than 24 hours, gone. Time to give up on the pipe dream and move on, picking up the pieces. Going to find even more of myself. And battle on. Days later, I move out. She proceeds to party every night, stop feeding, taking care of the kids. Won't even go to the grocery store for them to have food to make themselves. Other than boxes of cereal, started the 180, only to find out that she's more than moved on into emotional and even some physical affair. Why the heck am I trying so hard to make this work still? Time to move on already. Even my kids say, Dad, can't we just get away from Mom? Let's move far away and start new. Funny how no matter what advice is given, you think your spouse is above that kind of action. She wouldn't do that, do me, us. When looking back, the cold reality is, she already has. She could care less what I did, and the kids as well. Her freedom is more valuable than any family right now. Even now the kids are in school. Their grades have gone to heck. I'm taking them out of state for a week to have some fun and get away from it all, 'cause in the end, that is the only thing that matters. Me and the kids. I left for 5 weeks, then decided, why am I the one to move out? She is overloaded with the kids, cats, house. I am apparently not doing enough in those categories, so I just called her one day and said, you can't kick me out. I'm moving back in an hour. So I did. The last 2 weeks I have taken care of all the kids too, from school. Started taking cooking classes. And have made them dinner every night since. Do all the laundry. Take care of 7 special needs cats, clean the house, do the shopping, etc. etc. Even started taking some dance classes, so maybe someday I can get out and meet someone. Even now I'm sleeping on the couch. We never talk. She's up in the morning off to work. After work meets all her friends, probably OM too. Asked her if she could move out as even the kids do not want her there anymore. But she has never asked for a divorce, just time to sort her head out. Said there is no one else, she is just confused. I have already started to move on best I can considering the situation, but I'm here totally for my kids right now. Doing the 180 still cause it's the easiest way to handle it all. My wife has asked me to give her some time. We did the MC thing, and during the ground rules phase, she spoke up immediately and asked that we stay faithful to each other. Not that I'm out looking, heck who has got time for that? Not me, but I can't help but feel like I'm the plan B still. I promised I'd do what I could till the kids got out of school for the summer. But in all honesty, I already know it's over. So do my kids. Why does that till death do us part always get in the way? So, my wife called me today and asked to reserve tomorrow night to go out to dinner. I am pretty sure talking about our marriage is off the table. I would like to do something different than what we had been doing the last 20 plus years. I plan on a new restraint, a little worried about what to talk about, want to keep it as light as possible. And what I can possibly do after dinner. Something different there as well. My wife and I are currently doing an in-house separation, 21 years, 3 months now. We are both doing IC. My wife has said several times she has done, problems are that we drifted apart. And she felt I was not involved enough with the kids, school, home life. She went to visit her dad for the weekend but called me last night to ask if I'd like to go to dinner for our anniversary. I said that would be fine. So now my questions. Should I have accepted? I should keep our relationship off the menu. Is she feeling sorry for me? I've done a terrible job keeping myself together. Her comment last night was she misses our family. What the heck do I talk about at dinner if we do not talk about the kids, relationship, school, summer vacation? Am I making this out too much as a first step to I came to the realization a couple of nights ago that I have just been chasing too hard, and there's nothing left to chase. I have let myself get too motivated for R with her tiny little bits of hope she throws out there to reel me back in. My counselor told me that even she tells and does things that might sound like she is thinking about a possible R. It's more about me letting her control me. I have learned so much about myself, her, marriage, and the psychology of it all. It's that time machine mentality. If only you could go back X days and get a do-over. But that is just not the reality of it. The reality of it, it's over and it's time to move on. Final update, I'm currently sitting at about 6 months, the doubt and the positivity. In my mind, both have their ways at times in my head. I must beat both back. I must constantly remember that the only control I have is myself, that I'm going to focus on being a better me. Parent, friend, even if I was not lacking in some of those departments before. I can always be a better me. I must remember that I'm only half at fault as to why I'm here. But there's not much I can do or change regarding the other half. That if I'm making my changes, I'm also becoming comfortable with myself that I can make it either way. That even if it does not make it, I'm going to be one heck of a spouse for someone else. I need to get to the point that the loss would not be mine, but my spouse's. That only I can take care of myself. And I can't count on anyone else to do it for me. When it comes down to it, it is all about me. Story 2. Me and the wife have been married for over 1.5 years but have been together for just over 10 years. I am 34 and she is 31. We also have 2 sons together aged 6 and 2. We have always had a good life together. Our interests are the same. We rarely have any major arguments and we enjoy being with each other so much. The weekend before last I was a little tough on her. I was quite short-tempered and had a go at her for no reason. The argument got a little heated and she said, "I love you but I'm not in love with you anymore." At first, I was a little shocked but I dismissed it as I thought she didn't quite mean what she had said but had only said it to hurt me. We talked that night and she said she had felt like this for the last few months. She said she felt empty inside towards me. That she felt nothing. As you can imagine, I was completely blindsided by this and really upset. Up until June last year, my wife worked local and she only worked normal hours. She started a new job in June which was more money, more responsibility, and a lot more traveling. I must also tell you that our second child is not the easiest. He rarely sleeps the night through and we must bring him in bed with us to settle. That has taken its toll on her. Although she loves the job, the traveling and interrupted sleep each night means most of the time she looks drained. I have not been the most helpful husband in these times. I relied more on her dealing with the children in the mornings at the weekend. Plus we got stuck in a rut of never going out as a couple. I always tell her I love her every day. That she looks beautiful. I buy her things. I praise her with regards to the new job. Our bedroom life is pretty good, so I cannot complain there. She has always wanted a career and now she has the taste of it. She loves it, but it is impacting on her family life. She has spoken to her boss this week and he is going to reduce the traveling time. Now after she spoke those awful words to me, I told her I would change the ways that irritated her and for the next couple of days I went out of my way to make sure I did everything. The problem with this is that it felt forced and therefore fake. Even though I did mean it, the problem is I am having a hard time living and sleeping in a house with a wife who still says she feels nothing for me. I read threads on here from men who find the strength to do this for months. But I just find it too hard to be around her. Last week I asked her to move out and stay with a family member for the weekend. The reason I asked her to move out is that we need to keep our boys' lives as stable as possible. It is impossible for her to take one to school and pick him up and the youngest is looked after during the day by my parents. I take them in the morning and pick them up at night. With the long hours of her job and the traveling she could not do this. The next day she texts me to say her nan had talked sense into her and she was coming home. We went out for lunch together and then went home. We had a few glasses of wine at night. Talked and had bonded. The day was good, the next day was difficult for me. I found conversation awkward and struggled to be myself around her. The days that followed were still difficult. I would become anxious at leaving work, knowing that when I got home conversation would not be natural like it used to be. I could feel the pressure on me to make things work. My stress was causing more stress for both of us. She still feels nothing for me but does not want to give up. She says she wants to try but she does not know if she can ever feel that love for me again like she used to. I want to try, I want to be with her. I love her so much, but the anxiety and pressure we both feel when we are together is overwhelming for me. I asked her again last night to move out. We are going round in circles each night and just stressing each other out. This time we agreed it would be for a much longer period. She did not want to leave at first. But I said if we are under the same roof now, neither person can relax. She has gone staying with a friend. Finances will still share and managed by myself, and we have also arranged house swaps so she can be with the boys for a bit at the weekends. I feel no pressure and anxiety today. I feel better knowing my wife will not be at home when I get there. That is wrong though. I want my wife back, to love me like she used to. I want my family, but I just do not know what to do now. I have taken a hard step to remove the current stress and anxiety from both our lives, but now I need to figure out the next part if I want this marriage to work. There is no one else in the equation, no emotional or physical affair. She has sworn on her children's lives. She is not interested in other men. She spends all her time out of work with me and the children, and her phone and her laptop are always unlocked. I set up her password for her FB account and that remains unchanged. I tested. There is nothing at all suspicious that would point me down this road. When she travels, stays over, we are always on the phone together chatting most of the night. She is a good woman with good morals. Days later, my wife is still currently staying at her friend's and I am at home with the kids. We agreed that she could have the house on Friday night, Saturday with the kids, and I would have it Saturday night, Sunday day. I stayed with my brother on the Friday night. We chatted a lot as he has been through this. His girlfriend of 5 years gave him the same speech. After 3 months of trying, he had had enough and told her to move out and back in with her parents. That was 3 years ago. She has regretted it since and twice asked for another chance. but he tells her he is happy now and does not need any additional stress in his life. He says he gets lonely sometimes but weighs this up against the emotional turmoil he went through with her. He has peace in his life now and he is in a good place, although he does miss his daughter when he is not with her. Speaking to people who are been through this is certainly cathartic. I saw her on the set evening for about half an hour whilst she got her things together before heading back to her friends. We had a coffee and a quick catch-up. I told her I was taking the kids swimming Sunday afternoon, so she wanted to come. Swimming was fine, but afterwards the conversation and mood deteriorated between us. She dropped me off at home and she took the kids to her nan's house for the afternoon. My mood sank so low that afternoon and I curled up and went to sleep for a while. When she returned home, I invited her in for a coffee and we both agreed that spending time together today was the wrong thing to do. It put too much pressure on us to act all happy families. We had a nice chat about work, the kids, general things, and we also commented that it was nice to talk to each other about other stuff. With no talk of our marriage in the conversation, the mood was much better. That was Sunday evening. I have not spoken to her since. I have not texted her. The next time I will see her will be tomorrow evening when we house swap for the night. She is taking the kids away to her sister's this weekend, so I will have the house to myself. That scares me a little. I do not like an empty house. My house has always been full of noise and laughter. So I have asked my brother to stay with me for one night. It's strange really, my emotions change so frequently with regards to the whole situation. Sometimes I become so depressed with it all. Mornings are definitely the hardest. Then sometimes so positive, and then sometimes I get angry at her. Sometimes I say to myself that if she is not in love with me, why should I fight for her? Why bother? I deserve better. Yes, there were times I could have helped more, but I do not go out drinking with my friends much. I do not cheat, I buy her things. Always tell her I love her and appreciated her. I get the kids ready in the morning, I make their lunches, I pick them up, I am a good father and a good husband, but my own admission I could have helped more on the weekend mornings, and do not I regret this now? She has faults too, things that drive me crazy sometimes, but I do not just fall out of love with her. She seems like another person sometimes, not the one I know and love. Not the woman I married. She seems cold and emotionless sometimes. A stranger who just looks like my wife. I miss my best friend. I have taken into consideration some of your views regarding another man, but at this stage I must rule it out. I have access to her social networking accounts, her personal emails, her contacts list on her phone records, and her location during the day. I have checked it all out and continue to check it out, but there is nothing. In her own words on Sunday, she said that during the last argument we had, something snapped inside her and now she feels nothing for me. Whether time apart will heal whatever has snapped I do not know, but I do know that living under the same roof was not going to work for both of us. We would have started to hate each other. Well, I just found out, my wife has been sleeping with another man. I am devastated, I am in shock. I had a thought tonight when I got in, as I was unable to ever check her iPhone. I decided to erase mine and restore it from her last backup, which luckily was tonight. Once the phone booted back up, it was pretty much a clone of hers. I had all her text messages. All I can say is the ones between her and the OM were so vulgar and heartbreaking to read what they had been doing together and the language they used. It is soul-destroying. I rang her and told her I knew. She denied it at first, but when I told her I had all her text messages, she was shocked. I told her to come home and tell me everything to my face. She has left now and I am here to pick up the pieces. How could she ever do this me? Or our family? My comment: wow, I just do not know what to say. What do you feel after hearing these two OP? Comment down below, sub and bell, let me start preparing the next series.